Alright, what's happening, y'all? It's your boy Rico from StreetScores, and I know y'all saw, well, I hope you saw the previous video where I was breaking down the offensive side of the depth chart. Quarterback, wide receiver, tight end, offensive line, and I broke it up, interior offensive line and tackles. If you haven't seen that, make sure you go check that out after this, or stop this now and go check that out. Either way, we broke down whether we have a top 5 offense, top 5 quarterback, top 5 wide receiver room, top 10 at least, top 5 offensive line. Now we're here to do the same for the defense, man. And again, like I said before we got into that video, guys like Gabe Taylor, who are rookie minicamp invites, not technically signed as undrafted free agents yet, are not included in this. Again, I'm rooting for him. I think the rookie minicamps are May 8th and 9th. I'm rooting for him to ball out to the point that he gets signed, and then I can include him in the next depth chart videos set that I do, like this one. So I'm rooting for him, but he will not be included in this. I want him to make the team, but he's technically not on the team right now, so he's not in this. But man, we're here to dive into a lot of different things. First of all, are there sleepers and surprises here? I mean, you know how we do these depth charts. It's not just a roster. We're talking depth chart. We're talking about starters, backups, and guys whose names on the bubble that are not likely to make the team, but I'm not saying it's impossible for them. And I also want to dive into some potential veteran signings. Like in certain position groups, I have a blank space for, hey, let's go get this veteran right here at this particular position. So we're going to dive into all of that. Is this defense underrated? We're going to explore all of that and more. But before we do, make sure you stiff arm that like button, stiff arm the subscription button, and stiff arm the bell next to that subscription button so you get notification each and every time I release an informative and opinionated video just like this one. Make sure you stay tuned to all of the content. Really appreciate y'all. Again, if you haven't seen the offensive version of this video where I break down the offense, make sure you go check that out. Of course, this video will be defense, and then we'll have that last one just for special teams, kicker, long snapper, and punter, and all of that. So make sure you stay tuned throughout the entire video. And again, if you haven't seen the offensive one yet, go check that out as well. And without further ado, let's go and dive into the video right now, man. Let's get it. Adam. And again, just to explain it for those of y'all that maybe have not seen one of these videos, I've been doing these for years now, but just in case, names in orange are starters. Guaranteed, this guy will play a lot. Even if he doesn't technically go out there, snap one, they're gonna play enough snaps to where, okay, this is technically a starter because they're a heavy rotational player. Then there's yellow, where they're safe to make the roster. They're part of the rotation in a lighter sense, maybe a little less snaps than a name in orange, or maybe they're just a backup where if there's an injury, now they're the starter. And then names in white are not safe. They're on the bubble. Not very likely to make the roster, but again, I really want to emphasize that it's not impossible. It happens all of the times. Now, granted, there's no undrafted free agent in this undrafted free agent class that we just signed in 2025 that I'm as excited about and have as much faith in to make the final 53-man roster as my boy Tyler Owens. Y'all know that's been my boy for forever. I mocked him to us back in February last year. February, January, stuff like that. I was so excited when we got him as an undrafted free agent, and I wasn't the least bit surprised when he made the final 53-man roster. That was my guy. And so just to let you know, I don't think that highly, and I don't have that same feeling for anybody in this undrafted free agent class, but that does not mean that somebody's not gonna go into training camp and seize their opportunity, ball out, and fight for a spot on this roster, especially at outside corner. When we get to that group, you're gonna see, hey man, we're looking at one of these names in white, like somebody please step up. So we're gonna dive into all of that, of course. And also, like I mentioned in my offense video, the first half of this video, next time I do a video series like this where I'm breaking down offense and defense depth chart, maybe it'll be right before training camp, maybe it'll be immediately after rookie minicamp, depends on what happens, who looks good, all of that type of stuff. But I want to include a different category of color where their names are in red or something. I gotta figure it out because I don't think red is gonna look good with that burgundy background, but maybe green, something like that, where it's like this player is elite. Not only is he a starter, but he's an elite player at their position, like a Jaden Daniels at quarterback, like a Laramie Tunsil at left tackle, like a Terry McLaurin at wide receiver. You know what I'm saying? So let me know in the comment section if you want me to add another category of color like that to not only indicate who's a starter, but who's elite at their particular position. Because we're not elite all around. No NFL roster is. But I would like to point out some of the guys that there's a difference between a starter and a guy that's one of the best at the position in all of the NFL. Now let's dive into all of these different position groups. And y'all know me, man. I break this all the way down. We're not just doing defensive line in general. We're going to do interior defensive linemen, aka defensive tackles, nose techs, 3 techs, all of that type of stuff. And then edge rushers slash outside linebackers, designated pass rushers will be the next slide, the next page. That's a whole separate thing. And as you can see at the top right, I'm showing y'all how many of this particular position for each position group made the initial final 53-man roster cuts going into the last season, the 2024 season, to kind of get an idea of what they may do going into 2025. Of course, this is not law. This is not automatically going to be the exact same thing. Maybe they keep 6 this year. Maybe they keep 4. Who knows? I'm just giving you the reference at the top right for every position group. I did the same thing with offense. Now, interior defensive line. Javon Kinlaw and Daron Payne will play the most. They're making the most money. They're going to play the most. Whether you agree to that, whether you feel like they deserve it, they're going to play the most. Javon Kinlaw needs to go out there and earn that big amount of money we just gave him. Daron Payne needs to go out there and prove why we shouldn't Jonathan Allen you this next offseason. Because remember, Jonathan Allen still had a year left on his contract this year. We cut him. Daron Payne has 2 years left on his contract as of right now, but after this season, he's in the same situation as Jonathan Allen with no guaranteed money going into the 2026 offseason and regular season. So they can end up cutting him to save a lot of cap space if he's not performing to the level that they hope. Because I'm not sure, just like they tried to trade Jonathan Allen, I'm not sure if you could trade Daron Payne, because for the exact same reason that people didn't want to trade for Jonathan Allen, they knew we would eventually cut him at some point. So why would we give up draft picks to get him? Probably the same thing with Daron Payne if he doesn't ball out. But again, he's going to get every opportunity to. Daron Payne is going to be out there a lot. They're going to do everything they can to just please show us you deserve to stick on this team for at least another year, and maybe even go out there and ball enough to show us you deserve a contract extension. My worry is Daron Payne only plays well when it's time to get that bag. And again, technically he has 2 years left on his deal, but with the way the Jonathan Allen situation went, he could be next up. He may consider this year as like technically the last year on his deal, because we could just cut him after this year, even with the extra year he has going into 2026. So I'm worried about the fact that he may, catch us lacking, money on the table, balls out, we keep him around, and then he goes back to being the same old him. Who knows? We'll see. But Johnny Newton, I feel like he'll play more than Eddie Goldman, especially when it comes to obvious passing downs. But when it comes to obvious rushing downs, like 3rd and 1, 4th and 1, tush push and all of that type of stuff, Eddie Goldman is the only true nose tackle, 0 tech on this team since John Ridgeway. Since we traded him to the Saints for like a 6th round pick, we needed one of those bad. I don't think people understand how much we missed a John Ridgeway last year. I'm not sure if that 6th rounder was worth it. I mean, technically you could say it was, because I think we turned that 6th rounder in as part of the trade package to end up getting Marshawn Lattimore with a 3rd round pick and all of that type of stuff that went on, all of the trade swaps, pick swaps and things like that. But man, we needed a nose tackle bad. We went and got one in Eddie Goldman. Now, granted, we got to see if he still loves football. This guy's retired, twice now? So who knows? We get to training camp and maybe he retires again. Who knows? But as of right now, we do have a guy that, again, obvious running downs, he's on the field. But I think Johnny Newton would play more than him. I think if it's like 1st and 10, Johnny Newton. 3rd and long, Johnny Newton. 3rd and short, 4th and short, Eddie Goldman. So those are your 4 main defensive linemen. Javon Kinlaw, Daron Payne on the field. No matter the situation, Johnny Newton, more obvious passing downs, but hopefully he becomes a better run stopper. He'll be on the field more. But Eddie Goldman, your guaranteed double team eater to allow everybody else the opportunity to win their one-on-ones and make stops in the run game. Then you also have Sheldon Day, who, even though his name is white along with Ricky Barber, Falami Vahoko Jr., and Noro Pollard, Sheldon Day was on this roster for a long time last year. So if there's any name out of the white names, the only reason I gave him a picture, even though his name isn't white, is because this guy was on the roster a long time last year, and I wouldn't be surprised if they keep him around this year again, because if they keep 5 interior defensive linemen, he's more likely to be the 5th than any of those other 3 guys. I mean, but you never know, man. Free agent signing could come out of nowhere. Who knows, man? And then edge rusher. And as you can see, I have 8/9 of them, because right now, with what we currently have, cool, but can we please go get a veteran free agent, specifically a designated pass rusher? Go get me Von Miller or Zadarius Smith. I prefer Von Miller just because, I did a whole video breakdown on just Von Miller specifically. Just a whole entire video dedicated to him just a couple of days ago. If you haven't seen that, please go check that out. Or was that yesterday? Maybe that was, I don't remember. But either way, I did a whole video, and like, I think the stat that stood out the most is that he had the 5th highest pass rush win rate out of all edge rushers in the entire NFL last year. Like 5th. So per snap, he was the 5th most efficient pass rusher, getting after the quarterback, beating the guy in front of him that's blocking him out of the entire NFL. So he still clearly has juice, at least as a pass rusher. We don't need you to stop the run. We have Dorrance Armstrong's more of a pass rusher as well, but we brought in Dietrich Wise to stop the run. Cleveland Farrell, if he's healthy, can stop the run. Javonte Jean-Baptiste has shown flashes against the run. Right now, Jacob Martin and Dorrance Armstrong are better suited as pass rushers, but Dorrance Armstrong's trying to work on that run stopping and edge setting ability so he can be on the field more often to live up to the contract that we're giving him. But Jacob Martin is purely situational pass rusher, just like if we bring in Von Miller, he would be that guy. And then you have Andre Jones Jr., Jalen Holmes, and TJ, I forgot how to pronounce his name, I'm not gonna lie. Out of all of these guys, I think on the screen though, that TJ kid from rugby has the highest ceiling as far as just athletic profile, but he's coming from rugby. This is his first time ever trying NFL football. He's very raw. He may not even be playable for another 2-3 years. He'll just probably just be on the practice squad learning, and maybe he turns into this freak athlete edge rusher a couple of years from now, but don't bet on him to contribute in any way in 2025. But he's a pathway player program. Now they've made it to where you can have not only a 91st roster spot in the offseason, but an additional practice squad spot to keep a guy like that. So he may stick around. Hopefully no other team takes him from us before he starts to show flashes of a guy that we can play him on Sundays. But right now, we have no serious pass rush juice. Dietrich Wise can rush the passer a little bit. Dorrance Armstrong showed some serious juice in that Detroit Lions game last year, but I got to see it more consistently than that. I'm not sure if he's a double-digit sack guy. Cleveland Farrell can't stay healthy, and he's not even a good pass rusher when he is healthy. Jacob Martin could be our new Dante Fowler. Dante Fowler had like 4 or 5 sacks with the Dallas Cowboys before he came to us and had 10.5. Jacob Martin had like 4 or 5 sacks last year with the Bears. Maybe he takes Dante Fowler's place, especially if we don't sign a veteran free agent and he's your designated pass rusher that's getting after the quarterback. We'll see. And Javonte Jean-Baptiste shows some serious potential and flashes as a 2023 7th round draft pick, 2024 7th round draft pick, my fault. But we'll see. The edge rusher position is interesting. I'm just hoping we go get Von Miller for very cheap. Then moving on to the off-ball linebackers, more so your Mikes, but you know, we'll have Kane Medrano in there as well. And Nick Bellore is weird because technically by name he's a linebacker, but you'll never see him play on defense. That is purely a Pro Bowl special teamer. We signed him like right before week 1 or something like that. He had like no training camp with us, and he still led our team in special teams tackles. He's an elite special teamer, even with guys like Tyler Owens, who requires double teams, all-pro Revo Jeremy Reeves, that's an all-pro special teamer. Nick Bellore still led all of them and had more tackles than those guys in special teams last year. So he's making this team just as a special teamer. Don't depend on him on Sundays. That's why his name is in yellow. Maybe I should have indicated it in a different color to show he's not a real linebacker. He's really just name him a special teamer, honestly. Then, of course, Bobby Wagner and Frankie Louisville are your starting off-ball linebackers, but Jordan McGee don't sleep because he's a freak athlete. And he showed some serious flashes for us last year. He just couldn't stay healthy. But I really, really like our linebacker group. And Kane Medrano, I wouldn't be surprised if he ends up turning more so into like a box safety to really replace Jeremy Reeves. I mean, I think it's kind of a perfect transition. He's a terrible tackler right now, but I mean, who better to learn from than Bobby Wagner as like in your group? Kid Norton Jr. is your linebackers coach, and Dan Quinn is your defensive-minded head coach. If they can't teach you how to tackle, nobody can. But the freakish athleticism, the fastest linebacker 40 time out of this entire draft class, we can work with that. The coverage instincts and ability are there, and like I said in my breakdown of them, man, Frankie Louisville and Bobby Wagner, I can see a scenario where Kane is on the field alongside those guys, because if he can cover, that would allow Bobby Wagner and Frankie Louisville to do more so what they do best, stopping the run and rushing the pass. That would allow them to do that more often rather than having to worry about covering. Kane Medrano could erase a tight end in coverage. And I think Jordan McGee has the potential to be Bobby Wagner against the run. I mean, not to his level, but I think Jordan McGee is the most well-rounded linebacker we have on the team, especially Bobby Wagner at this age. I think Jordan McGee has the highest potential to be the most well-rounded as a run stopper, getting after the quarterback as a blitzer, and a coverage guy. Kane Medrano, coverage. Frankie Louisville, blitzing with some run stopping, a little bit of coverage. And then Bobby Wagner in his prime, of course, was elite at all of them. But as of right now, at the age that he is, with 35, elite run stopper, really, really good at getting after the quarterback, not so great in coverage. Jordan McGee, you're our long-term answer of our true Mike linebacker. Like, hopefully he becomes our next Ray Lewis. I'm not saying he will be, but he has the highest potential to be that, because Kane Madrano, I don't ever see him being a consistent, really good run stopper, but we'll see. And then you have Ale Cajo and Cam Arnold, who we both signed as a drafted free agent, and Dominique Hampton, I think was a sixth round draft pick from last year's draft class. He was on the practice squad, inactive all year or whatever. He only got in the very last game of the season against the Cowboys, and it was only on special teams, so we'll see if he makes the roster. They'll probably keep him around because they don't like wasting draft picks, but we'll see. But those right now technically are your 4 linebackers, along with Nick Bellore, who's your special teams guy. Then your outside corners, like I alluded to earlier, like I already gave you the foreshadowing. We only have 2 true outside corners right now, and those are both of your starters. You have Marshawn Lattimore, and I'm one of those guys that believes that with a full offseason of learning the defense, getting comfortable in the defense, and being healthy, having 2 fully working hamstrings, I think he could get back to his Pro Bowl level of player. I really firmly believe that. I think he's more likely to be that, or at least get closer to that, than the version of him that we saw last year. I really do. But even so, Tre'Navian Amos was a first-round talent that we got in not only in the second round, but the late second round. Most people feel like that was our best draft pick as far as value goes out of the entire draft class we had. A lot of people feel like he was the best pick in the entire draft class, just period. A lot of people gave us A pluses when you go look at experts. Again, I'm working on a video breaking all of that down for all of the grades we got for our draft picks and overall draft from all the experts, websites, and all of those type of things, ESPN, CBS, so stay tuned for that. You're going to see Tre'Navian Amos come up a lot in that. But those are your 2 starting outside corners. And you don't have to worry about Tre'Navian, because Emmanuel Forbes is 160, Tre'Navian's 190, and still runs a 4.43, and I think he's even faster than that on tape. But the problem is, who's your backup outside cornerback? Technically, I guess you could say if, like, say Marshawn Lattimore or Tre'Navian were to get hurt, Mike Sanford still would be first in line to step up as outside corner, even though he's technically your starting slot corner. But then you would just elevate one of these other slot corners in Jonathan Jones or Noah Benogany to start in the slot. More than likely Jonathan Jones, in my opinion. That's why Mike Sanford still is orange. Jonathan Jones is like a darker yellow. Noah Benogany is a lighter yellow, just to kind of give you the idea of how the depth chart works. If there's an injury to one of our outside corners, Mike Sanford still starts at outside corner in that guy's place. Jonathan Jones is now your starting slot corner. But again, going back to the names, Kevon Seymour was here last year. Fentrell Cypress was here last year. Bobby Price, Allen George. But Carlin Vickers, man, as an undrafted free agent, watch out. He's one of the more notable ones that we signed. I really think he has an honest chance to, like, really show what some game that he has in him this offseason. Maybe he makes it as the 3rd outside corner. I mean, again, even if Carlin Vickers miraculously makes this team, I think he has the talent to do so. We'll see. I still think if there's an injury to one of those 2 outside corners you see on the screen right there, Mike Sanford will still be the immediate guy to step up and take one of their places off of how well he played last year. But ideally, again, Mike Sanford is a solid outside corner. He's an elite slot corner, which is why drafting Tre'Navian Amos so that Mike Sanford can go back to his more natural position is going to make our secondary just way better just off of that alone. But then the fact that Tre'Navian Amos is going to be I feel like a Pro Bowl level. I think he's at least a high-end cornerback 2. I think he could even be a high-end cornerback 1. But right now he's backseat to Marshawn Lattimore. So that's just ridiculous talent in the cornerback room. It's going from one of our weaknesses last year to one of our biggest strengths. And again, Jonathan Jones, he's going to probably be a part of the rotation just whenever there's any snaps to Mike Sanford or Tre'Navian or Lattimore need to sit for a second. I'm perfectly comfortable with Jonathan Jones going out there, and especially playing in the slot. I mean, at this age, I don't love him at outside, but he can play both. He's played both for the Patriots very well, and I think his best position, just like Mike Sanford is in the slot, but he can play some outside. Same thing with Noah Benogany. He was starting at outside for us until they moved Mike Sanford to outside last year, so there's some experience there. I prefer him in the slot as well, just like everybody you see on this screen right now, but he can play some outside, like break glass in case of emergency. And I mean, going from Emmanuel Forbes, Benjamin St-Juste, and Michael Davis to this group of Lattimore, Amos, Mike Sanford, and Jonathan Jones is ridiculous. Like, that is an immense difference right there. So I'm so happy. This cornerback group, again, is going from one of our biggest weaknesses to honestly one of the biggest strengths on the team. We just have an outside cornerback depth problem. But again, when in doubt, technically, Mike Sanford, who's your starting slot, is technically your backup outside corner, at least immediately after Lattimore and Amos. Hopefully neither of those guys ever get hurt, though. Then the safety position. Another one of those positions where I'm looking at veteran free agents. And with edge, it's like between 2, maybe 3 guys. Safety is purely just Justin Simmons. I might as well have just gone ahead and thrown his picture up there because I want Justin Simmons bad. I've been saying that even before the draft. Go get me Justin Simmons, because I already knew that we more than likely weren't going to address safety in the draft. So I was like, yep, my mock drafts, I kept saying, and then after the mock draft, after we make these picks, go get me Justin Simmons in free agency. I hope we're in contract negotiations with this guy. I haven't heard anything about it. We've heard rumors and reports that we're interested in Von Miller. I've heard nothing concrete about Justin Simmons, but it's crazy though, because a couple of months ago, he was talking about how much he would love to play for the Commanders or the Eagles. Let's go get that man. Now, Will Harris we brought over here. He's not as good of a box safety as Jeremy Chinn, but he's definitely a better cover safety. So I feel like coverage-wise, we improve with Will Harris, but I still miss Jeremy Chinn. I'm not about to sit here and downplay Jeremy Chinn because he's no longer on the team. But I would love a true starting safety. Will Harris is an elite depth, backup, rotational piece type of guy, but I don't love him as a starter. Quan Martin, love him as a starter, but honestly, I prefer him as a strong safety than a free safety. So give me Justin Simmons to play free safety. Will Harris can kind of rotate in if you need an additional DB, or if there's an injury to free safety or strong safety, he can play either one. Quan Martin can technically play either one, but similar to how I prefer Mike Sanders still in the slot, but he can play outside corner. I prefer Quan Martin in the box more so as a strong safety, but he can play some free safety. He looked really good for us last year, free safety, especially in that Detroit Lions game. But either way, he's versatile enough. I'm comfortable. You just put Will Harris and Quan Martin on the field, they'll figure it out. But I would love if we can get Justin Simmons in there. And then Jeremy Reeves and Tyler Owens, don't love them on defense, but they're elite special teamers, period. I don't love them as safeties to play on Sundays as a safety, but hey, special teamers, elite. Tyler Owens, again, requires double teams. Jeremy Reeves is an all-pro special teamer. That's the only reason they're on the screen right now. Really, I'm about to start including pure special teamers on the screen with the special teams guys, but at the same time, when we get the safeties and you don't see Jeremy Reeves and Tyler Owens here, I think it will look weird because they're technically safeties, just like Nick Ballore is technically a linebacker, but that's not what they're going to do on Sundays. Tyler Owens, though, insane alien athlete. The only person probably arguably in the NFL more freakishly athletic than even Jeremy Chinn is relative athletic score wise. Perfect 10. It's only but a handful of those guys in the entire NFL. So the potential is there. He just needs to learn more nuance, get more instinctual, learn coverages, all of that type of stuff, learn the technique stuff. If he can gain that, we potentially have an elite rangy free safety there. I'm not going to bank on it. I'm not going into the season assuming he's going to do that, but I'm hoping so. Percy Butler, he may be the odd man out. I'm not sure if this team really likes him that much. The same feeling how much I feel like they love Kosin Yankov. I feel like on the other side of that, they do not like Percy Butler much. I mean, Ben Nikhil, they brought him in personally as an undrafted free agent, so we'll see. Trey Rucker, undrafted free agent, we'll see if he's able to, show some talent, some flashes in there to deserve a roster spot. Doubt it. That's why his name is in white, but again, it's not impossible. Percy Butler, though, I gave him a picture. Even though his name is in white, I gave him a picture because if especially if we have to play a game tomorrow, Percy Butler is making this roster over Ben Nikhil and Trey Rucker, but who knows what happens this offseason. And again, as you can see at the top right, we kept 6 safeties. So right now, Percy Butler, you're safe. We'll see what happens throughout training camp and all of that type of stuff. Now the specialists. And thank goodness we finally have a starting caliber kicker. Shouts out to Zane Gonzalez. Appreciate you for the doink. Not going to disrespect you here, but thank goodness we have Matt Gay, who last year for the Colts, anything 49 yards or less, 100%. He never missed a PAT, never missed a kick. Now 50 plus, he was about 50% or a little less than that. Not very good, but like I already said in my offense half of this video, the one that came up before this one, I mean, I think we're going to have a top 5 offense. So I don't think we're going to be in a lot of situations where Matt Gay even has to kick a 50-plus yarder. We're more likely to go for it on 4th down anyway, regardless of who our kicker is. That's just the Dan Quinn way. That's how much he trusts his offense. Cliff Kingsbury is a madman and a genius. Jaden Daniels is a miracle worker. And now this team around Jaden Daniels is way more talented than it was last year. So we brought in a kicker that's automatic, 100% last year from anything 49 or less. I think we're solid to go. Tyler Ott is a former Pro Bowl long snapper. We're good to go there. And Tress Way, elite punter, deserves more credit NFL wise, but at least our fan base shows the love, gives him the love that he deserves. And so now I think we have an elite special teams unit. I should have included returners. Next time I do a video like this, we're going to include returners as well, because Jalen Lane and Ja'Cory Krosky Merritt, in my opinion, are your starting returners. Jalen Lane is your starting punt returner, and then Jalen Lane and Ja'Cory are your starting kick returners. That's an elite ceiling there. I can see both of them each getting a kick return or a punt return for a touchdown in just this next season. That's how explosive and athletic those guys are, and elusive and all of that type of stuff. I love it. Our special teams unit was already what, like top 8 according to like advanced efficiency metrics and things like that last year. It's way better going into this season than it was last year, even just kicker and returner wise, which are some of the most important positions to measure how good your special teams is. So our special teams, I wouldn't be surprised if it's a top 5 unit. So if our offense is top 5, our special teams is top 5, we got to see what this defense can do, especially if we can get a serious pass rusher, and then we just turn corner from one of our greatest weaknesses to one of our biggest strengths. And we were dead last in run stopping last year. With the free agents that we brought in, I wouldn't be surprised if we're top 10 in stopping the run. We don't necessarily have some serious pass rush yet, but we have way better coverage. Hey man, top 5 offense, top 5 special teams, maybe at least an average defense. Super Bowl to me, man. That's what it sounds like to me. But yeah, man, that's the end of this video. Please get in the comment section. Let me know if you love everything discussed in the video. Please stiff arm that like button, stiff arm the subscription button, and stiff arm the bell next to that subscription button so you get notification each and every time I release an informative and opinionated video just like this one. Really appreciate y'all, man. I mean, especially if you made it this far in this video, I salute you. I really appreciate y'all, man. And of course, let me know in the comment section, especially for videos like this one, just like the offense half of this. Please let me know in the comment section if you agree or disagree with any of the points I made, if you agree or disagree with any of my depth chart decisions, who I have above who, all of that type of stuff, man. Do you agree that we need to go get a Von Miller or a Zadarius Smith at edge rusher and or Justin Simmons at safety? Let me know how you feel about everything discussed in this video, especially like if there's an injury to outside corner, do you think Mike Sanford still is next up to start at outside, and then it would be Jonathan Jones to start in his place at slot corner? Let me know how you feel about every single thing, whether you agree or disagree. I want to hear all of it. Really appreciate y'all. Make sure you leave a like on the way out. I'm gonna catch y'all later. I'm out.